On a freezing Colorado night in January 1982, a man flashed SOS signals from his stranded truck at Hoosier Pass. His face was bruised, his story simple. He'd lost control in the storm. The rescue team saved his life that night, fighting through temperatures of 15 below zero, but they just helped a killer walk free. In their report, they wrote down his name, Alan Lee Phillips, a local mechanic from the mountain community. What they didn't know, just hours earlier, two women had vanished into that same darkness. Barbara, Bobby Oberholzer, a 29-year-old mother, left a Breckenridge pub after drinks with coworkers. Miles away, Annette Schnee, a 21-year-old worker at a convenience store, was last seen hitchhiking. Two separate lives, two different locations, one killer. The next morning, searchers found Bobby's body in the snow. Near her, something caught their eye, a single orange sock. 6 months later, when hikers discovered Annette's remains in a remote creek bed, she was wearing a match. That simple piece of clothing would become the thread connecting their murders, waiting 40 years to reveal its secrets. In 2021, modern science would finally unveil what that orange sock had been trying to tell them since 1982. The man they rescued that bitter winter night was the same man who had killed both women. Before we unravel this extraordinary cold case, hit the subscribe button, because what happened on that Colorado mountain changed cold case investigation forever, proving that sometimes the smallest piece of evidence can bring down a killer. Breckenridge, Colorado, January 6, 1982. A ski resort town where temperatures plunged below zero and the population barely reached 1,000. Highway 9, cutting through the heart of the Rocky Mountains, was the lifeline connecting these isolated communities. Here, hitchhiking wasn't just common, it was necessary for survival. At 4:30 p.m., surveillance cameras at the minute mark captured 21-year-old Annette Schnee buying cigarettes. She wore a light blue ski jacket over a blue hooded sweatshirt, carrying a backpack with her clinic paperwork inside. She needed to get to Fairplay, about 30 miles south. Stepping out into the heavy snow, she began hitchhiking on Highway 9, a route she'd taken many times before. 3 hours later, 29-year-old Barbara, or Bobby Oberholzer, left the village pub on Main Street. The snow was falling harder now, the temperature dropping to 15 below zero. At 7:40 p.m., she called her husband Jeff from inside the warm bar. "I'm heading home to Alma," she said. "I'll catch a ride." She walked out wearing her brown leather jacket, her red backpack slung over her shoulder, and headed toward the same highway Annette had taken. Both women were experienced hitchhikers. Both knew these mountain roads. Both were heading south on Highway 9, and both would encounter the same driver, though this wouldn't be known for 40 years. As the snow intensified that night, two separate disappearances would become one devastating story. Barbara Bobby Oberholzer had found her home in the Colorado mountains. At 29, she worked as a secretary at a Breckenridge real estate office, building a life with her husband Jeff and her 11-year-old stepson. Colleagues knew her as meticulous and responsible, someone who never failed to call home when working late. Her husband, Jeff, would later testify that in 7 years of marriage, she had never disappeared without calling. January 6, 1982, had been routine at the office. That evening, Bobby joined coworkers at the Village Pub on Main Street, a popular local gathering spot where everyone knew each other. At 7:40 p.m., she made her last phone call to Jeff, telling him she'd catch a ride home. In her red backpack, she carried her wallet, house keys, and a distinctive set of brass keys on a leather keyring, items that would later tell part of her final story. Earlier that same day, at precisely 4:30 p.m., security cameras at the Minute Mart captured 21-year-old Annette Schnee making her last known purchase. Working 2 jobs at a bar in Blue River and cleaning condos, she was building her own life in Breckenridge. That afternoon, she carried her clinic paperwork wearing the blue hooded sweatshirt and ski jacket that would later help identify her. Friends would later recall her as fiercely independent, someone who knew these mountain roads well. January 7th, missing person report. Barbara Oberholzer. Last seen at Village Pub, Breckenridge. Time, approximately 1940 hours. Temperature, minus 15 degrees. Jeff Oberholzer's call to police broke the night's silence. Bobby always called, always made it home. Something was terribly wrong. The brutal cold and heavy snow made every passing minute more critical. As officers began their search in the darkness, Annette's absence hadn't yet raised alarms. Her independent lifestyle meant days might pass before anyone reported her missing. The two disappearances, occurring just hours apart, wouldn't be connected for months. The evidence emerged piece by piece. Bobby's red backpack found near the summit of Hoosier Pass, its contents scattered across the snow. Her brass keys, discovered separately in a snowbank, suggest a violent struggle. And a single orange sock, its significance not yet understood, but destined to become the thread that would eventually unravel this case. What began as two separate missing persons cases would soon reveal a darker connection. Two women who have never met. Two journeys south on Highway 9. One killer who knew these mountain roads as well as his victims did. And one pair of orange socks that would take 4 decades to tell their story. As dawn broke on January 7th, search teams made their first grim discovery near Hoosier Pass. But what they found would only deepen the mystery. A single orange sock in the snow, a scattered trail of personal items, and evidence of a violent struggle that suggested Bobby Oberholzer had fought desperately for her life. Yet the most disturbing revelation was still to come. This was only the beginning. January 7th, 1982, 10 a.m. A search helicopter spotted something jarring against the white snow near Hoosier Pass, Bobby Oberholzer's red backpack. Ground teams discovered her body approximately 20 feet from Highway 9, partially hidden by snowdrifts. She had been shot twice with a .38 caliber handgun. The evidence at the scene suggested she had fought desperately for her life. January 7th, 1982. Multiple items of evidence located along Highway 9. The victim's belongings scattered over a 300-foot area. The temperature is still below zero. The crime scene revealed a violent struggle. Bobby's distinctive brass keyring was found bloodied and bent from the force of being used as a weapon. A key piece of evidence, her glove stained with both her blood and her attackers, would later prove crucial. Nearby, investigators discovered a bloody tissue, also containing vital DNA evidence that would wait decades to tell its story. Additional evidence located: a single orange sock recovered approximately 50 feet from the primary scene. Shell casings found in the surrounding snow. The orange sock seemed oddly out of place among the evidence. Investigators logged it, not knowing it would become the thread connecting two murders. The scattered evidence painted a grim timeline of Bobby's final moments. As detectives worked the scene, a routine rescue report from the previous night surfaced. A local mechanic, Lee Phillips, had been rescued near Hoosier Pass around 1 a.m., claiming his truck was stuck in a snowdrift. The rescuers noted he had a visible facial injury, a detail that would become significant decades later. The evidence told a story of violence. Bobby's credit cards traced a path along the highway. Tire tracks showed where a vehicle had pulled off the road. Shell casings in the snow matched the .38 caliber wounds. Each piece added to a puzzle that would take 40 years to complete. But this was only the beginning. As investigators processed this grim scene, they didn't know that another victim, Annette Schnee, was still missing. The connection between these two women would remain hidden for months, just like the matching orange sock that waited to be found. For 6 months, Annette Schnee remained missing. While investigators processed Bobby Oberholzer's murder scene, they had no way of knowing their second victim lay hidden in the Colorado wilderness, 10 miles south of Hoosier Pass. The orange sock found near Bobby's body remained cataloged as unexplained evidence. evidence, a mysterious clue to a connection not yet understood. July 3rd, 1982, a recreational prospector working his way through Sacramento Creek made the discovery. The summer heat had finally melted the winter snow, revealing what the killer had tried to hide. The location was remote, accessible only by foot, suggesting the killer knew these mountains intimately. Detective. July 3rd, 1982, 1:45 p.m. Female body located in Sacramento Creek. Victim identified by blue hooded sweatshirt and ski jacket. Initial examination indicates gunshot wound. Orange sock on left foot matches evidence from Oberholzer case. Water temperature 33 degrees. The medical examiner would later confirm what investigators suspected. Annette had been killed on January 6th, the same night as Bobby. The evidence suggested she was actually the first victim, though her body was found last. The killer's pattern became clear. He had murdered Annette, kept her sock, then lost it hours later during his struggle with Bobby. Lead detective said, "The sock matches. Same manufacturer, same style, same dye lot. Burlington hosiery, sold in local stores. This links both cases definitively. We're looking at one perpetrator." The creek location had actually helped preserve crucial evidence. The cold mountain water, barely above freezing even in summer, had protected DNA evidence that would otherwise have degraded. Investigators carefully documented everything: the position of the body, the clothing, and most importantly, that orange sock. Each piece of evidence was photographed, logged, and preserved with the knowledge that technology might someday advance enough to reveal their secrets. The parallels were undeniable. Both women had hitchhiked south on Highway 9. Both had been shot with the same caliber weapon. Both cases are now connected by these distinctive orange socks. The killer made critical mistakes, losing one sock at Bobby's scene and unknowingly leaving DNA evidence preserved in the creek with Annette. The evidence told a chilling story. The killer knew these mountains well enough to hide a body where it might never be found. But nature worked against him. The creek's cold waters preserved what he tried to destroy. The DNA evidence, protected by near-freezing temperatures, would wait patiently for science to catch up. For 40 years, these orange socks would remain the strongest physical link between the cases. But the most crucial piece of evidence had been collected on the very night of the murders, though investigators didn't know it yet. In their own rescue logs lay a report about a local mechanic with an unexplained injury, a man named Lee Phillips, the same man who would become the focus of their investigation 40 decades later. Rescue officer at January 7th, 1982, 0100 hours, rescued stranded motorists from Hoosier Pass. The subject has facial injury, claims vehicle stuck in snowdrift. The case was about to go cold. But sometimes the most damning evidence is hidden in plain sight, even in an act of kindness on a snowy mountain pass. As 1982 faded into 1983, the murders of Bobby Oberholzer and Annette Schnee became known as the Orange Sock Murders. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation joined the Park County Sheriff's Office, interviewing over 1,000 potential suspects, but the killer remained elusive. Each lead that promised to break through led instead to another dead end. Detectives said, "We've investigated every possibility. Long-haul truckers, local workers, acquaintances, over 1,000 interviews. Still, no solid suspect. These mountains hold their secrets well." Jeff Oberholzer, Bobby's husband, was initially investigated, standard procedure in homicide cases. His alibi proved solid, and DNA evidence would later confirm his innocence. Every January 6th, he would return to Hoosier Pass, keeping his promise to never let Bobby's case be forgotten. The site became a place of remembrance, marked by flowers and prayers for justice. Meanwhile, Annette's family continued their own search for answers, working tirelessly with investigators and keeping her story alive in the media. They distributed flyers, gave interviews, and refused to let her case fade into history. Each year, they marked the anniversary of her disappearance with renewed calls for information. Jeff Oberholzer said, "Someone knows what happened that night. Bobby fought back. She left us evidence. We just need that one break, one person to come forward. The evidence was meticulously preserved by the CBI crime lab. The orange socks, the bloody glove, the tissue samples, all carefully stored in temperature-controlled facilities. Detective Jim Hartke, who took over the case in the 1990s, made sure nothing was overlooked, no matter how insignificant it might seem. Detective Hartke said, "These women deserve justice. Their families deserve answers. We preserve everything. Technology will catch up. Science advances every year, and when it does, we'll be ready." Each year brought new theories, new disappointments. Tips came in from across the country, each one thoroughly investigated. The case files grew thicker, but answers remained elusive. But in those evidence vaults, preserved by careful protocols and unwavering dedication, lay the DNA that would eventually solve the case when science finally caught up with the killer's mistakes. In 1982, when Bobby and Annette were murdered, DNA testing didn't exist in criminal investigations. The blood evidence collected, Bobby's glove, the tissue samples, the evidence preserved in Sacramento Creek, held secrets that science couldn't yet reveal. By the 1990s, DNA technology had evolved. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation began new testing on the preserved evidence. But early DNA testing required large, well-preserved samples. The degraded evidence from the orange sock murders proved too challenging for the technology of the time. We can exclude suspects, but identifying an unknown killer from degraded DNA, that technology just isn't there yet, a lab technician said. 2010 marked a crucial turning point. Advanced DNA extraction techniques could now work with smaller, degraded samples. The cold mountain creek that had preserved Annette's evidence suddenly became crucial. Its near-freezing temperatures had protected genetic material that would otherwise have been lost. Detective Hartke said, "Sometimes nature works in favor of justice. That creek kept evidence intact for 40 years. In 2018, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation's Cold Case Unit began using genetic genealogy, a revolutionary approach combining DNA analysis with family trees. The preserved evidence underwent new testing with technology that didn't exist when the crimes occurred. Lead investigator said, "We're not just looking at DNA markers now. We're building family trees, tracing genetic connections through generations. Science has given us tools we could only dream of in 1982. The evidence was finally ready to speak. Those orange socks had connected the victims for 40 years. Now, preserved DNA would connect them to their killer, leading investigators back to a chance encounter on a snowy mountain pass. By 2020, genetic genealogy had revolutionized cold case investigations. The breakthrough in the orange sock murders began when Park County investigators partnered with United Data Connect, a Denver-based genetic genealogy company. They uploaded DNA profiles from two crucial sources, blood on Bobby's glove and evidence preserved from Sacramento Creek. Lead investigator Richard Eaton said, "We started with DNA matches to distant relatives, building family trees, connecting generations, narrowing down possibilities." Through months of painstaking genealogical research, investigators focused on two brothers in Colorado. One name stood out, Alan Lee Phillips, who had lived in Park County during 1982. His name appeared in a decades-old rescue report from the very night of the murders. Detective, January 6, 1982, a rescue on Hoosier Pass. Phillips with an unexplained facial injury consistent with what we knew about Bobby's struggle. In February 2021, investigators conducted surveillance on Phillips, now a semi-retired mechanic in Clear Creek County. They followed him to a Sonic drive-in restaurant in Dumont, Colorado, waiting for him to discard items containing DNA. Lead detective, the DNA from those discarded items would either eliminate Phillips or confirm what 40 years of evidence suggested. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation's laboratory made the comparison. The match was definitive. The man rescued that snowy night was their killer. forensic scientist. The DNA match probability was overwhelming. This wasn't just a close match, this was conclusive evidence. In a final twist of irony, the very system that saved Phillips on that January night had preserved the report that would ultimately lead to his arrest. 40 decades of silence were about to end. January 6th, 1982, 1 a.m. As the temperature plunged to 15 below zero, a set of headlights flashed SOS signals on Hoosier Pass. Fire Chief Dave Montoya spotted the lights from the mining company where he worked as a safety supervisor. He and his rescue team battled through the blizzard to reach what appeared to be a routine rescue. Dispatch: respond to stranded motorist, Hoosier Pass, subject signaling with headlights, severe weather conditions. They found Alan Lee Phillips, claiming his truck was stuck in a snowdrift. Montoya immediately noticed a fresh, distinctive injury on Phillips' face. When questioned, Phillips explained he'd hit himself on his truck's door while trying to free it. The rescue team, focused on saving a life in the brutal cold, documented the injury and helped him to safety. Fire Chief Dave Montoya, 2021 interview. That bruise stood out. It didn't match a story about hitting the door, but at 15 below zero, you don't stand around asking questions. Unknown to the rescuers, hours earlier, Bobby Oberholzer had fought for her life. Her brass key ring, later found bloodied and bent, had left a distinctive mark on her attacker, a mark that perfectly matched the injury photographed on Phillips that night. Detective: the injury pattern was unique. Bobby's key ring left a specific mark. When we compared it to Phillips' rescue photos, it was unmistakable. More disturbing still, Phillips had already killed Annette when he was rescued. Her body lay hidden in the snow, wearing one orange sock. The matching sock would be found near Bobby's body, lost during their struggle. Lead investigator Eden: the rescue happened between the murders. He killed Annette, got stuck, was rescued, then killed Bobby. The timeline finally made sense. The report provided crucial verification. Phillips' location, the timing, his injury, everything aligned with evidence collected over 40 years. DNA from the fast food surveillance confirmed what this report had suggested all along. Detective: we had the DNA match, but this rescue report was the piece that connected everything. It put Phillips exactly where we knew the killer had been. For 40 years, the report remained in fire department records, reviewed countless times, but its significance unrecognized until genetic genealogy led investigators back to that snowy night. The very documentation of saving Phillips' life had preserved evidence of his guilt. His moment of rescue became the key to his eventual capture. But for investigators, knowing his identity was only the beginning. Now they had to prove what 40 years of evidence had told them, that the man they'd saved that night was the killer they'd been hunting. Detective: February 24th, 2021. Subject leaving residence. All units in position. The man who had once flashed SOS signals for help would soon see different lights in his mirror, the red and blue lights of justice, 4 decades in the making. For the families of Bobby Oberholzer and Annette Schnee, the longest wait of their lives was about to end. February 24th, 2021. At 3 p.m., Park County Sheriff's deputies and Clear Creek County authorities arrested Alan Lee Phillips outside his home in Dumont, Colorado. The 70-year-old mechanic offered no resistance when confronted with evidence from crimes committed 4 decades earlier. Lead investigator Eaton: after 40 years, 2 families would finally have answers. The trial began in Park County District Court on September 2, 2022. Prosecutors presented DNA evidence from Bobby's glove and the preserved evidence from Sacramento Creek. The orange socks that had connected both murders now connected Phillips to both crimes. Most damning was the rescue report and photographs documenting his facial injury, matching the defensive wounds Bobby had inflicted with her brass keyring. Prosecutor Beth McCann. The DNA evidence was conclusive. The odds of it belonging to someone else were 1 in several billion. On September 15, 2022, after 12 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 5 hours. They found Phillips guilty on all counts: 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 2 counts of assault. Judge Stephen Groom sentenced him to 2 consecutive life terms on November 7, 2022. Phillips' final act came just months later. On February 27, 2023, corrections officers found him dead in his cell at the Colorado Territorial Correctional Facility. The 72-year-old had died by suicide, taking any remaining secrets with him. For the families of Bobby Oberholzer and Annette Schnee, 4 decades of questions had been answered. The orange socks that connected their loved ones in death had finally helped bring their killer to justice. The resolution of the orange sock murders changed the cold case investigation in Colorado. Park County Sheriff Tom McGraw credited the breakthrough to advances in genetic genealogy and the meticulous preservation of evidence from 1982. Lead investigator Eden. This case proved that with properly preserved evidence and modern science, no case is truly unsolvable. For Jeff Oberholzer, who had lived under a cloud of suspicion for decades, Phillips' conviction brought long-awaited vindication. For Annette's family, it provided answers to 40 years of questions. Jeff Oberholzer, 2022 trial. Bobby never gave up. She fought back and left us the evidence that would eventually solve her murder. The case became a template for cold case investigations throughout Colorado. United Data Connect, the company that helped solve the case, went on to assist with other decades-old investigations. In evidence vaults across Colorado, other cold cases wait for similar breakthroughs. The Orange Sock murders prove that even 40 years of silence can't hide the truth forever. But the story doesn't end with Phillips' conviction. The legacy of Bobby Oberholzer and Annette Schnee would change cold case investigation forever, starting with a simple question: how many other killers have we unknowingly helped along the way? The Orange Sock murders revolutionized cold case investigation. Today, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation's cold case unit uses the same genetic genealogy techniques that caught Phillips to investigate over 1,500 unsolved homicides. Lead investigator Eaton. Every piece of evidence tells a story. Bobby and Annette's case proved that proper preservation can speak across decades. In Park County's evidence vault, 2 orange socks remain preserved, silent witnesses that finally brought justice. They remind investigators that the smallest clue can solve the biggest mystery. Bobby Oberholzer and Annette Schnee's story doesn't end here. Across America, thousands of families still wait for answers. Thousands of pieces of evidence still wait to speak. Before leaving, hit subscribe and join our investigation community. Daily, we uncover new evidence, examine forgotten cases, and give voice to the silenced.